This year we have rebranded it to Textbook Center.
Go, John.
Okay, afternoon everybody. Welcome to our weekly dialogue. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people today. We're continuing on our theme of discrimination, but last week we had a very interesting discussion on women representation, women in leadership, and we felt that we should continue with that today because you know, we've hardly started in some ways, so that's our theme for today. But if we end up also on other issues, it's also okay. So maybe do we need to translate, Svetlana? Svetlana?
No, today no. We can.
Everybody's got English.
Yes,
okay.
Everybody understands English. We can say English. Hello.
So, okay, so we've got 5 people. Let's do a quick introduction, and maybe if everybody could tell us something interesting that they've done in the last week, something to share with the group. I think let's start with Andrei. Andrei is on the far left. We've got a nice picture of his house. Huh?
Андрей, представьтесь, пожалуйста, и скажите пару слов, что у вас случилось на прошлой неделе, и почему это там мы видим машину у вас на экране. Андрей? Ага, Андрей может не слышать. Andrew is into the car right now. Maybe it's illegal to drive and that's why maybe we will not push him to do it because I know that Andrei in Warsaw, Poland right now, and he is in his car, and he picked up her wife to some business deals, and we will see Poland from window of his car.
Okay, he's gone off anyway, so maybe we'll come back to him. Let's go to Nancy then. Huh?
Yes, Nancy.
Yeah, for me, the main highlight has been learning to use the WordPress system. John, is that voice coming from your end? Hello?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay.
Hello. Yeah, sorry. It's the news, eh? Let me.
Oh.
Let me try. That's why it's hard to lead and to. Yeah, Nancy, go on, please.
Oh, yeah. I was saying the highlight has been, I think, John, you informed the group that we sort of begun a blog on social inclusion. Yeah, so the highlight has been just learning to sort of operate the system and all that, posting documents, though I've only done one so far. But yeah, I think that has been something I've learned in the past week from my end, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Hello.
Let's go to Oksana. Huh?
Yes. My news for this week. Yes.
Yeah, please go on.
No, actually, this conversation last week was really very interesting. I remember one things what I see in Luxembourg. Yeah, we saw place, parking place, the parking lot for women. And I remember never in another country I see something like this. It was something amazing actually, and I want to speak about this maybe today.
John, you can switch off your microphone.
Yeah, good idea.
You keep silent. Maybe it's my turn right now.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
You switch off your microphone, and then you switch on, and you will turn and play a little bit with microphone. Thank you. And I'm Svetlana Solomatova. I am in Ukraine. I'm in capital of Ukraine right now, in Kyiv. I represent non-government organization IC Ukraine, the Institute of Culture Affairs, which represented in 42 countries. And during last week, I learned practical, what does it mean, women leadership. And maybe we start this conversation last week, and I'm very actively learn what does it mean women leadership, or what does it mean facilitative leadership. And now I'm on the process to understand what does it mean facilitative women's leadership. And it's very interesting question for me. Because in Ukraine, maybe it's traditional culture, we love when women do very strong job in middle or second position in companies, but we don't like women like women's leadership in top position. I don't know what is it. But it's happened here in Ukraine. Why? I don't know. But I am looking for this answer together with you. John. John.
Hello.
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 Yeah. but first thing is, Svetlana, I'd like you to lead, please.
Okay, I try because it's John. John, say a couple words about yourself.
Because the microphone.
Yes.
To the gap, eh?
So
it might be easy if I just. It might be easy if I just talk when I need to talk, rather than trying to have it on all the time. But anyway, yeah. What has my week been like? It's been amazing, actually. I've been in India for the last week, and I came back to Kenya yesterday, so I'm a little bit refreshed today. I'm in Mombasa on the coast at the moment, because my family's here, came to see them. And I had a great experience being with about 200 facilitators from all over Asia and a few others not from Asia. We did various things, but I was able to do a session on social inclusion, and that was really interesting, and participate in some others. The good thing is I saw many women leaders, many women who started their own companies, who are leading in different ways, and that was quite inspiring, because I think there's an image of India as being a very male-dominated society, and it is in many ways, but you can see that there's obviously a lot of progress towards gender equality, at least that little bit of it that I saw. So that was very encouraging, Although I must say that IAF chapter is still it's led by men. There's very few women there, but the people participating in the conference were some very dynamic women from all over, and that was quite inspiring, that aspect of it.
Thank you, John. And we have.
So that's me. Yeah.
Thank you, John. And Sergey, I cannot see you, but I know that Sergey now with us. Sergey, representative Media IC. It's media group which help us with technical support. Now we see you, Sergey. Hello. Could you say a couple words? Sergey?
Что рассказать?
How you spent your last day? Как ты провел? Какие новости были у тебя на прошлой неделе?
Ну, ми тут всі масово святкували День Незалежності України і робили командою медіасупровід.
We celebrate the Ukrainian Independence Day in Poland.
Да, і робили медіасупровід різних заходів, які проводили громадські організації, посольство, України в Польщі.
It made technical support of Ukrainian embassy in Poland and provide technical support to different ambassadors of different embassy in different countries.
And we have a lot job.
And they was very busy. It's great. They were very busy because it was very. I think it was very sensitive and very important Independent Day, or it was very special Independent Day for Ukraine. It was yesterday, and it seems like something changed for sure in Ukraine during the last year. John, are you with us? And today we want to talk about women in parliament, women in power, and it's a very good question for us. What is influence? Or what kind of influences women's power or women's leadership we will see next, for example, 10, 12 years. Yesterday I found very interesting article in internet. It was written 6 months ago by Russian polittechnology, and she is a young woman. And it's article in this article was written about that lady said that I'm not believe in women's power because world statistics says that representative women in parliament do not change country. It means that number of women in parliament don't change country. Do you agree with this statement? Nancy, John?
Oh yeah, that's a very provocative comment. Yeah, I think what I would like to know is maybe it would be good to know which country, but we know that in most of our countries, women have had very low numbers in parliament, in leadership. So I don't know how effective you can be as a woman in a group of 50 men, for example, in pushing agendas that will benefit the whole country. And even that visibility, when you're the only woman in a big group, I don't know to what extent you can be effective in pushing agenda, because all these policies, you know that they require votes, yeah? And I think one issue we've had with women in leadership, why they are not so visible, why people might say women do not bring change, is one, when women join and become leaders, do they have the capacity, do they have the skills to know how to bring people to their side to support their agenda, for example? I'm just saying that with hindsight because one of our parliamentarians, Jokindungu, who passed the sexual offences bill in Kenya, I think she had a lot of support from civil society. And one of the strategies she said was using a personal approach and going to the men and telling them, what if your daughter is raped? What if your wife is raped? Yeah. So it was sort of a personal approach for them to vote for the bill she was passing. So I think she's one of the few women who had the skills to know how to influence the men to vote and support what she was after. But I don't know how many women have that confidence and have that skill to push for their agenda in a male-dominated sort of system. Yeah, but I think women can change a country. The lady I've just mentioned, Jokindungu, yeah, John has just posted that sexual offences bill. She changed Kenya in terms of how sexual offences were handled in Kenya. So I think she's one good example that we have in terms of leadership, like the government. But we also have some women who've changed the world, like our own Mwangari Maathai. I think John will also type. She won the Nobel Prize, I think 2-3 years ago. And she changed the world in terms of changing how Kenyans view the environment and how they protect the environment. So I think women can actually change the world. They just need to be given that space and that opportunity and that support.
And if I understand right, Nancy, you think that you said that women is not change the world for sure. For real change, it means that we cannot provide really change, but we can support of changing. Is it right?
Oh, no. I think women can provide leadership. They just need support.
Leadership just. Okay, yeah. Thank you. Now I understand.
Yeah, they can provide it.
It's very important point. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a big difference. Yeah.
Yes, of course. I agree with you. It seems like we need support, and what kind of support we need, and what to ask John, because I think that women, what kind of, from whom, from men, from women, from society, from government, from whom women need support.
That's to me, eh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, clearly, I mean, those are great examples that Nancy gave, and you know, it's clearly possible for everyone to support women, because those two were both supported by both men and women.
Yeah.
Although I would say they struggled to get to that point. It wasn't easy. But I mean, thinking about this issue that, you know, we need to see change at, if you like, the higher level, you know, political level or in business, you know, at that high level. But the change will start at the ground level. So we need to see women leading in communities, in organizations, in order to create that environment where, you know, basically looking for good quality people, whether male or female. And I think that's a big challenge, you know, because sometimes we focus a lot on getting women in Parliament, for example, but we forget that the structures on the ground are not there to support women to come through and to start working towards that level. So, you know, it needs to be tackled in different ways, you know, on different levels. It's an interesting picture on the left, eh?
Thank you, John. And what do you think? Thank you for opinion. And what do you think? What we women are waiting from society? What support we need from society, or what support we are waiting from society, which help us to be a good leader?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, you know, like I said, it's creating that environment where, you know, people with potential, whether male or female, are nurtured, are encouraged, are supported by everybody, you know, so that I think we had this point last week, we get to the point where good female leaders are just seen as good leaders, you know, it's not because they're women, but it's because they have good quality, and you know, there's a situation in the society that enables them to come through, you know, so that we don't lose the potential of, I'm sure we lose the potential of a lot of good quality women, because at the moment it's really hard. It's just a small number that get through to that level, and they have to really struggle to get there. Yeah.
Thank you, John. And during last week, I heard different phrases or statements about that it's very easy to work with men, but it's very difficult to work with women, and usually men don't want to be on the second position. Anyway, what I want to say is that men don't like when his chief women with good skills of knowledge and with good skills of strong brain thinking. What do you think about it? Because I want to ask John, because he's man among women right now. And John, do you feel comfortable when I know that you are president of International Association Facilitator in Africa, and nobody up of you except the Kenyan government. And do you feel comfortable yourself if president of association will woman and you will be deputy of association?
Yeah, definitely. And she's doing a very good job. I was with her in India, and I was just really, once again, I was very impressed with her leadership and the way that she's been doing this job as chair. Unfortunately, she has to step down at the end of this year, but she's been there 3 years and she's done a fantastic job. So personally, yeah, I don't have any problem with women leaders, but I think sometimes it's just about the breakthrough. You know, once you get one, then you can get others, and it becomes normal. You know, and I'm sure in the NGO sector, you know, if I look at Kenya, we've got a lot of female, you know, CEOs or executives, and it's not really a big deal. You know, I'm sure most of us in the development sector, we know many good women leaders, so it's not just one or two, but there's many. So it's become less of an issue. But I think in maybe in the private sector, where there's been very, very few female leaders, top executives, there's still this thing that, oh, can women really lead, etc. You know. But generally, yeah. I mean, personally, I've known a lot of good women leaders in organisations I've worked in. If I look at even in VSO where I work, the global CEO is a man, but the previous one was a woman, and the regional director for East Africa, who's my boss really, is a woman, and she's a damn good leader as well, you know. So I think once you get to that situation where there's a number of women coming through, then it becomes less of an issue, you know. But whenever there's just one or two, there's a lot of pressure on them, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's what many politicians are facing, because they're such a minority. So there's a big pressure on them to perform, you know, and more pressure on them than their male counterparts.
Yeah.
And what I hear right now is that we are talking about leadership, women's leadership in non-government organization. And what about leadership in government or leadership in politics, like you said, John, just now? And yes, in the last hour conversation, we started to talk about women's in politics, and you pointed a little bit about ex-Prime Minister of Britain.
Oh yeah.
And her influence, for sure, you said that her influence for sure was bad for people who are living in Great Britain.
Okay, I'll talk about Thatcher, and then I'll leave Nancy to talk about the other examples in Kenya. But I think my conclusion with Thatcher is, I mean, for me, her politics was very negative and very destructive, and she actually contributed to a lot of inequality in the society. However, the fact that she was a woman was a statement that, yes, it's possible for a woman to be in that position, and why not? Although I don't think a lot has changed since then in terms of the numbers of women. It's about, I think it's about 25% now, so it's still pretty small. The three major parties are all led by men, but there are, I think, 2 or 3 of the smaller parties are led by women at the moment. And I think the Scottish First Minister is now a woman. I need to check with that, because maybe I'm out of touch with British politics. But, so that's the little bit I can say about Britain. But I think, you know, there is a perception that we have a lot of gender equality. We still have a long way to go in UK as well. There are many other countries that are probably way ahead of Britain in many ways. Maybe Nancy, you can talk about in politics and business in Kenya.
But we have one more example in Europe, Nancy. It's Chancellor or Prime Minister of Germany, Angela Merkel. and everybody decides that she is a strong leader, and I don't know how you evaluate his activity, but in Ukraine, everybody thinks that she is really strong and she is a good leader for a German nation. Maybe it's myths, I don't know.
No, I think I think for the Kenyans, they also agree. She has proved herself time and time again. Yeah, for the case of Kenya and women, I think we've had 2 women contesting in elections for presidential seats. John, correct me if I'm wrong. We've had Charity Ngilu and we've had Martha Karua. They didn't win the seats, but they are very strong leaders. And they sort of have had very senior positions in government. I can't really comment on what they've achieved as women leaders, but we have had a couple of women in senior positions in Kenya. Maybe what I wanted to also mention was corruption in Kenya as an issue. My feeling is that when a woman leader is corrupt, she's vilified more than male leaders. I don't know why. I guess more is expected from women leaders as compared to men. John, correct me if I'm wrong, but that is just a feeling I've been getting from the Kenyan scenario especially. In terms of women business,
I'm not correcting you because I don't think you're wrong. Yeah, please go on.
Oh yeah, that is women in politics. We have quite a number. The impact is maybe not so clear, and the numbers are not as high, but we've had women in senior positions. In terms of business, I feel we have more women, like John has said, in civil society and in business than we have in political leadership.
Thank you. And now, I don't know why, but I want to ask everybody who is in this room, when we say leadership, what we understand, what does it mean, leadership for us? Because it seems like we have different understanding. What is leadership? Maybe we talk about influence of leadership, but it seems like we must come back a little bit and understand what does it mean, leadership. What is it?
Well, we always talk about leadership as if it's like the top positions, but I think, quite honestly, we all have leadership qualities. We all lead at some point in our lives, you know. So, you know, you could be leading in your family, you could be leading in your workplace, you could be leading in something in your community. So I think if we take it just to mean people who are the head of something, then we take it's a very narrow definition. So that's the way I understand it.
Oksana, maybe you have understood.
Yes, I'm thinking about this. It's hard actually. It's not so difficult. Yeah, leadership. It's like I don't know. I think it's people who can change my mind. Yeah, because I'm not a young girl. Yeah, I have something in my mind. Yeah, in my head actually. And leadership. It's people who can change. Change my взгляд. Светлана, помогайте.
Change Oksana's thinking, understanding.
Yeah, but with arguments. Yeah, no, just change because I'm beautiful. No, change with arguments.
Okay, thank you, Nancy. Do you want to share with us your understanding of leadership?
I think it's anyone with a position to influence something. Anyone who can influence anything in their sort of environment, that is a leader.
Thank you. And now I found very interesting things. First, John says that leadership, it's we can say about leadership if person have top position or lead something, lead like me, like now, lead conversation, or like person who lead something, some process, yes, or family or something like that. And Oksana says that it's a person who can change something into other people. And Nancy says that leader is person who can influence of some processes. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for me, leadership is combination of three these parts. Personally. And now I have a question, which came from John. John answered, and Nancy also, and Oksana. And could person be not on top position and influence of processes, or change other people, but not being on top position? Может ли человек, который не занимает топовую позицию, влиять на других людей, да, и менять человеческие мозги или привычки?
For sure.
And could we, if yes, could we call this person leader or leadership?
Yeah, for sure, but it's difficult for people because если можно я по-русски, потому что мне сложно сейчас будет сформулировать свою мысль, сейчас будет просто такой смысловой поток, что, ну, безусловно, да, что есть такие люди, которые не лидеры, да, но они могут менять головы других людей.
Yes, of course, there are. We can find a lot of people who are not on the top position or CEO, but these people change other people.
Yeah, but it's very difficult for these people because it's easy to change something in myself. Yeah, for example, if something say leader, yeah, because it's leader, everybody hear him, and that's why it's it's like easy, yeah, but it's not. Это не всегда может быть как бы, ну, истиной, да, то есть то, что лидер говорит. Something like this.
And yeah, sometimes it's not trust what leader says. Sometimes leader says something, but it's not.
Maybe it's not true, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
not reflection of trust or idle situation or idle idea.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Светлана, вы нас загнали в философские темы.
Yes. And I don't know that Nancy is here or John, because they freeze a little bit. Они сейчас немножко замерли. Мне кажется, что, может, мы потеряли связь с ними. No? Nancy, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Uh-huh. You keep silent. Maybe it's a very difficult question.
No. I was waiting for the feedback from her. But the question is, must you be in top position to influence? I don't think so. I think it helps when you're in a senior position. But I think some leaders emerge because of some social problems, and they become, maybe that's when they get positions in politics or whatever. But I think some leaders just emerge from their community. And I think that is what John was saying about trying to bring out and support and nurture such leaders from the community level. John?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, if I think of many of the great leaders I've ever known or met, most of them are in their communities, and they're like small heroes, eh? They're doing wonderful things. Maybe they're not impacting on a big level, but I believe that smaller impact can lead to, like a ripple, like a lake, eh? So I'm a very strong believer in creating small changes what appear to be small, but they have a knock-on effect, you know, with other people. I think I became really aware of this when I was in South Africa, but it's true in other places where I've worked. But I travelled around the country a lot doing various pieces of work, and I met so many community leaders who were just, they weren't even described as community leaders, but you could see that they were people who had a lot of influence, who were really trying to do some very powerful things at the grassroots level, you know. And many of them are women, to be honest. I've not been keeping a record, but I suspect there are more women than men playing that kind of role, you know. And these really are unsung heroes, you know. I remember, you know, if you look at the history of South Africa, of course, you know, we know the big names, you know, we know the Mandelas, the Zulu and Becky and all those guys, and they're mainly guys. But actually, there's so many unsung heroes, and I had the pleasure of getting to know some of them. And you know, I could see there were people who've done amazing things over a long period of time, and really created positive change on the people around them, you know. And that leads to other changes on the people around them and so on, you know. So I think if I didn't believe such things, I wouldn't be doing community work, because I really believe that's where change happens, you know. At the same time, we need people at a higher level to support us.
So if it's not there by now, it means, so she had told me tomorrow morning. It means tomorrow morning won't be possible if it's not there right now.
Nancy, do you want to say something?
Nancy's other comment.
Nancy talking with other girls. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay. And what do you think, guys, about statement, very simple statement about women?
Tomorrow, hopefully.
About if two women works together, for sure it's cause of conflict. And this conflict between the women came from jealous. I don't know how about it in Kenya, but in Ukraine it's very, very very stable statement.
Svetlana, sorry, please explain that again. I missed some of that.
I want to say that it's impossible to work together two women who are leaders. It's impossible because when two leaders on one field, it's cause of conflict. Like two women's leaders are cause of conflict, and cause of the conflict is jealousy. And that's why it's impossible to create good communication and to create good cooperation between two women who are lead countries, or who are lead business, who are lead local communities. And when two leaders work on one field, conflict starts, or will start. John, what do you think?
What I think is, yeah, it's often true, and I've heard such statements many times. There are lots of examples where it's not true. You know, just the other day, two of the people who were in the workshop I was facilitating came and we talked for a long time afterwards. You know, about this work on social inclusion, and they're also doing similar work in India. This is in India, and just interacting with them, and I realized, wow, they have a very good relationship and understanding, and they clearly work well together, you know. So that's just a simple example of where it's not true. But I think looking at it at a deeper level, I think society doesn't give much space to women, especially in the more senior positions. So it's often the case that when a woman reaches to a high level, she feels that, you know, there's very little space and there's not space for other women, you know. So in order to protect that space, she will fight off other women. And that was true of Thatcher. I mean, there were never any other prominent women when she was Prime Minister in UK. You know, she was famous for not giving other women space. You know, but I think it's to do with the patriarchy in society, that even when women reach to a senior position, it's only very limited numbers, you know. So the system only allows a little bit of space, you know. That's my interpretation.
John, and when you say social environment do not give a lot of space, and what do you mean? What is the meaning of social environment? And social for me, it's people. Why people don't give space for women? It's very interesting question for me personally, and very interesting for looking answer for in this, or to be in this field right now a little bit. Why people don't allow women to be in leader position?
Well, I don't really have an answer, but I think that.
No, I think it's not. I'm not waiting from you answer, because nobody, I think, don't know about.
But what I think is that when we get to the point where there are many women in senior positions, I think it will be less of a problem. When societies change to being more equal, I think that will be less of an issue. I think it's an issue now because society is very unequal. You know, it's the same or similar. If I look at UK or even US, there are very few black people who are in senior positions, and they often report that it's been a struggle with other black people. You know, ironically, and I think it's a similar reason.
Oksana, and what happened in Poland? If you know the situation, what Poland society or Poland people say about women's leadership in Poland?
I'm sorry, but I don't know, because it's like very interesting for me, yes, but I don't have time. And sorry, I don't have time to read and found some material about this, about.
No, Oksana, I don't ask about material and statistics. I ask about your feeling and sense and feeling, and your understanding, because you live in Poland environment right now.
Yeah, but it's just
and what people says about leaders, because in my understanding, you are on leader position also in Poland right now, because media tools like women who lead a radio program or work online and lead conversation or dialogue with other people, and you are on leader position also. You influence on society. And what is the reaction of people to your job, to your conversation, your dialogue?
I understand. I think it's same like in Ukrainian. Nothing changed. Maybe more European, yeah, but it's not so big different actually. Same, I'm think.
What I heard that it seems like I know that Ukrainians don't love women in influence position, but after Maidan, I think that something changed, and now people more polite to women and start to trust. it seems like we don't have really difference right now between men and women on middle level, on the grass also, and something changed in this level. I feel it, but I'm not sure about top level. I'm not sure about women in parliament or women in government.
Big politics.
Or big politics. I don't know what Kenya says about it. And I don't hear Nancy. And Nancy, you are mute right now. If you want to say something, unmute yourself, please. What Kenyan society says about space for women? For women with leadership positions, certainly. John, would you point something?
Yep. Yeah, I can talk. I was waiting for Nancy. But
I don't hear Nancy because she's muted. Oh, now she is here.
Can
Nancy,
you?
say yes.
Yeah.
Now she's here. Yeah. Thank you,
John, you can begin. Then I'll follow up. I'll follow what you say.
Okay. Space for women. I think at times it's very good, but only in certain environments, you know. And I'm not a woman, so Nancy will give a better answer than me. But the feeling I have is sometimes in the development sector, there's a bit of progress, but then there are definitely places where really, you know, women are not expected to play a leading role of any kind. Maybe Nancy, you can give a better answer than me.
Yeah, I know. I agree with that. Yeah. In terms of mostly you find in religious groups, in traditional sort of community groups, women really don't have a space to be leaders or to even be part of decision making. Yeah, but I think the rest, in terms of leadership, in terms of politics, in terms of the corporate world, that is changing. And I think some churches are also starting to involve women, ordaining women, but very few. So I think there are some spaces women can be leaders, and there are some spaces women are really not part of the leadership.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Nancy. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question, guys, now, because time is moving on very fast, and I have maybe the last question for today. And what steps must do women to society to get space from them?
Sorry?
What kind of steps or what actions have to do women to society for getting space from them, for getting allowed or getting space from society?
Yeah, I think what John has mentioned will be one way to do it, which is... Hello?
Yes. Go ahead, Nancy.
Oh, yeah. I think what he mentioned, just mentoring the community level leaders, mentoring them into leadership so that they can aspire for higher or more if they want, or maybe just have a bigger impact wherever they are. I think another way is through mentorship, where the women in leadership, women in influential positions should be meeting and supporting women who aspire for leadership to become better leaders, where they share their experiences and all that. And I think we always need women pioneers who will unfortunately have a hard time getting into a system that has been predominantly male. So some women who are pioneers will always have a difficult time, but they always make the way for other women to join some areas. So we always need such women who are more courageous and all that. And I think as society we should find ways to support such women.
Thank you, Nancy. Nancy, and guys, we have one more participant in the real end of our dialogue, today's dialogue. I see it's Oleg. Oleg, do you hear us?
I'm here.
Thank you, Oleg. Could you say a couple words about you? And you are welcome first to our conversation. Unfortunately, you are on the real end of our dialogue today. And who are you? Where are you from? And what is your position about women's leadership?
So many questions.
So many questions. Okay, it means that now I demonstrated what does it mean women's leadership.
I'm just
reaction.
I'm just joined.
You just joined.
And now I understand.
And topic. Oleg, where are you from?
I'm from Ukraine.
From what city?
And now live in Warsaw.
You are from Ukraine, but I live in Warsaw. Okay, you are welcome. Nice to meet you. And the same question for John. Could you point some steps which women?
Okay. Yeah. Well, first, nice to see you, Oleg. Yeah? One of the many Ukrainians in Poland, eh? But I hope you can join us next week anyway.
Yes, Ukraine, Poland, Kenya cooperation. Good job.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, hi Oleg. I'm John. I come from UK, but I live in Kenya. So now the question was how can women get into leadership roles more? So just to add, because I agree with the points of Nancy, and I think, you know, one is for women to be bold and take those steps, take those risks, you know. I think that's really important because sometimes, you know, the space is not there and you have to find your own space and you have to be quite strong and tough really to do that, but that does somehow make it easier for those who come afterwards. And for the rest of us, and that's the men in particular, but the society as a whole, we have to also recognize that right and support women and, you know, be ready to, you know, to see changes that will benefit us as well. I mean, I think that's something that I always stress, that actually, you know, sexism is bad for women, particularly. But it's also bad for us as men because we also get limited in the roles we're expected to play, you know. So I'm not suggesting it's as bad as it is for women, but actually at the end of the day, you know, there's a saying that whenever, you know, we can never be free until everybody's free, you know. And I think that's true if you look at gender, if you look at race, etc. You know. The other thing I wanted to say, there was something Oksana wanted to tell us about at the start of the call, so maybe, I don't want us to lose that, so maybe Oksana, when you give your response, you can also share a bit more as you wanted to at the start.
Thank you, John. And actually, I agree with Nancy too. And I want to say one thing, and maybe Svetlana here can help me a little bit. Yeah. Речь идет о том, что я считаю, что в первую очередь общество должно созреть, да, и быть готовым к тому, чтобы принять женщину-лидера.
First society must bless them up to accept women as a leader. Or grow up, or bless them up, or grow up for women first.
И в таком случае просто не будет необходимости создавать это пространство, то есть оно все будет в гармонии, и именно этого бы очень сильно бы хотелось. And
Oksana decided that if society grew up for accepting, all processes will start to be very organic in nature, and for women or for women it will be not difficult to go steps to society. It's not
and for men too.
So big effort, and for men also.
Yes. For everybody. Yes, thank you, Svetlana. It's like my dream, yeah. It's
And in my understanding, it's very difficult to. First, it's very difficult to go to make steps to somebody who are not want to accept you first. And now maybe we can call this type of women heroes. But if we say really about steps, but I think that magic will happen if women will demonstrate not leadership position or skills. I think that women must be open of window for society, and she must be ready to be a window of opportunities, and work not only with brain. And I think that women, and men also. Now we have in 21st century, and skills of brain thinking works very well, but not for society. For society, it's not enough. Society, we must create combination between brain and heart, and join these two type of thinking plus emotional intellect, and to go to society with open heart, and to be a window of opportunities for them. And I think that Oksana and Sergey media team demonstrate this position, like leader in the media, how to say, internet media environment in Poland. You go to society with open heart. I try to do the same in Ukraine, and what I feel from John and Nancy, it seems like you do the same in Kenya. You go to people with open heart. And our conversation, our opportunity to involve to our weekly dialogue, and it seems like we open this opportunity for different countries and different people. And we made this first step, and I think that we are a hero maybe. And we don't know if society needs us, if society accepts us, but we go to everybody with open heart, and we want to create open conversation, open dialogue on different topics. And now we have very difficult topic about leadership, about politics, government, everything. But you are welcome to our dialogue, weekly dialogue, and we are open. We can find us on Facebook, on Google+, and everywhere. And now you can find us in Kenya, in Poland, and Ukraine for sure. And thank you everybody for being here. And say one word from very important. What was very important today for you in this conversation? What maybe you discovered something. Let's start from Nancy. I see Nancy right now on my screen.
Yeah. I think the main thing is just for women to be bold. You will not always be given that space. Sometimes you have to take it. It's good to ask people to support you, but they will not always support you. So I think that's an important discussion we've had today.
Thank you, Nancy.
Yeah.
John?
Yeah, I've also enjoyed it, and I can see that I'm very committed to this, because every week I seem to be somewhere different, struggling to find the online place, but I've managed, and I'm really enjoying the process. Yeah, I think it's been good today. We've been able to get into the topic in a lot more depth, which has been great. And I'm happy we've shared some examples. I'm thinking of maybe some documents to share with people, just to share some of the great women leaders we've had in Kenya, other parts of Africa, other parts of the world, you know, because I think that issue of role model, somebody talked about role modeling, and that's very important because, you know, that's how we all get inspired, you know, and that's how a new generation of women can come into leadership. They can be inspired by some of those who've gone before them. So I see a lot of hope and positive things in the world, and you know, we have to hold on to the open heart. I like that expression. It's very true. That's so important, because it's a world where, you know, there's a lot of closed hearts, and we have to try and open some of them, you know, and keep our own open at the same time. So thank you very much. Спасибо.
Thank you, John. Oksana?
Yes, me too. Thank you. It was really very interesting and new things for me. Yes, and I must think about this. To ask very hard questions today, and it's good actually, because it's motivated. Yeah, for new topics. Actually, thank you. It was great.
Thank you. Alec, do you want to say? I know it's difficult because you spent only 5 minutes together with us.
Sorry, cannot answer because I'm joined too late.
Okay, thank you, Alec, and we are waiting for you next week. And join us, please. And what I opened today was new for me. Maybe it's not new. It's like a new statement, maybe for me, that people are everywhere people, and heart are everywhere heart. I mean, not heart, heart, and heart also everywhere heart, like difficulties. But at the same time, we are very similar in Kenya, Ukraine, and Poland, and any country in the world. And I have a dream right now. If through our conversation we open as much as possible secrets, maybe, for people, I think it will be a great result of our activity in weekly activity online. I mean, I don't know what is our mission right now. We are looking for this interest, yes, but I think that dialogue must be resultative. And now we are really window of opportunity for us. And join us. Thank you very much. Thank you, and see you next week.
Thank you. Bye.
Sergey, thank you very much. Thank you, media. I see for technical support. And with us, window of opportunity will close very fast without you.
See you next week.
See you next week, John.
Okay.